Hey everybody, it's the waitingfornextyear.com podcast. I'm your host Craig Lindell, and there is nothing going on in Cleveland sports. I mean, the Indians are in spring training, the Cavaliers are actually kind of playing well for a team that has nothing to play for. This is like performing during September call-ups. You know, this is the NBA version of that. The teams that are going to make the playoffs are already made the playoffs and they're preparing, and none of what the Cavaliers do right now really means a whole heck of a lot. It's players who might or might not be here next year. It's rookies who are going up against teams that are resting players and otherwise doing funky things that only happen in the regular season of the NBA. So let's talk about coronavirus. This isn't something that we would normally talk about, and, you know, we avoid political issues and all kinds of things, but I just have to tell you how crazy your boy is. I need to tell you how crazy I am. This whole coronavirus thing has turned me into a bit of a prepper, but I don't know what I'm prepping for. But at the same time, I kind of felt like with all the news that's going on, and if this virus comes in and we have to hole up for a while, you know, what am I prepping for? Am I prepping for us having to stay home for a couple weeks where they shut down businesses and schools and they tell us to stay home and use Purell and Lysol our houses and otherwise not spread disease? I don't know. I really don't know. I have no idea what I'm prepping for. I don't think the electric grid's going to go down, so buying milk and bread doesn't make a lot of sense, but at the same time, I just wanted to be prepared for something. So I went and I spent a bunch of money at the store, and none of the stuff I bought makes any sense, except it just made me feel better. And so if it makes you feel better, it's probably worth the $100 or whatever you're going to drop at your local store. I bought 2 cases of bottled water. Again, I don't know why. I'm not sure what the bottled water is going to do for me or when it's going to come into practice that I'm going to need that. Maybe my sinks and my house is not going to work. I don't know. So bottled water. I bought two 4-packs of the Lysol wipes. So I have 8 of those canisters of Lysol wipes available to me in my house now. Again, not sure if we're sequestered in our house to avoid virus, I'm still going to be surrounded by my family. I guess that would be to clean every surface just in case somebody is sick, to try and ward off the spread of the disease inside my house. I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. 2 boxes of rubber gloves. Again, I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm sequestered in my house. When am I going to need those? Is this all right, you're only supposed to go to the store if you absolutely need something, and now I have to go to the store. But when I go to the store, I'm going to wear some kind of a mask over my face and rubber gloves on my hands so that if there's any disease running around the store, I'm not going to catch it. But then again, I'm going to be bringing those things from the store back into my house where my family is. So again, none of this makes any logical sense, but here I am doing it. I bought 2 3-pound boxes of macaroni. 2 3-pound boxes of macaroni because I want to make sure I'm able to feed my family for some extended period of time, I guess. So we're apparently going to eat pasta. I don't know. I'm thinking all you have to do is be able to boil water in order to eat it. So I guess that was my thought. But again, I would never eat that. I would never eat that on a regular day. But here we are. I bought 4 cans of canned chicken, just in case I otherwise can't get meat and I need protein, some protein that won't spoil. I got some tuna fish, more protein that won't spoil. I know I'm crazy. I know I'm nuts. I'm not sure what I'm hoping to accomplish with my purchases. I'm not sure what I'm exactly preparing for, but honestly, dropping that $100 made me feel better. My wife is also, she's a bit of a science nerd, so she had already bought masks weeks ago just to have on hand. I'm not sure what we'd use them for, and she's not sure what we use them for, but we have them. And in the meantime, I'm scheduled to go on a plane to Arizona this weekend to the Innings Music Festival. I'm going to Arizona. I'm going to be in an airport on an airplane, traveling with hundreds of people, and then watching music with thousands of people in another state. And then I'm going to jump back on that plane into another tin can full of disease to come back to Cleveland. I'm basically putting Ohio at risk by traveling, I guess. But here I am. I prepped all this stuff at home. And so now I don't know. It's weird times, man. The news is scary, or it's not scary. So like on the one hand, the CDC is warning you that this thing's going to spread. On the other hand, they're saying for most normal aged, regular, generally healthy people, this is going to be a really bad flu, kinda. This is really a risk for people, elderly people who have COPD or asthma or other breathing conditions. One of my sons has mild asthma. My wife souped up on all his inhaler medications, so we've got extra of those. But like, in essence, this thing is going to spread. And it's going to suck. Like, it would suck to be that sick for 2 weeks or 3 weeks or however long it's going to take to get better. But most people will get better. 90, 98, 99, 99% of people will get better. So again, I don't know. It's scary and it's not, and it's scary. And I don't know if any of you guys are prepping, but it made me feel like a weirdo and surprisingly better all at the same time. So I just wanted to share how crazy your boy is, because that's who you're dealing with. That's who you're listening to. That's who you gather sports takes from. Is this guy right here? All right, NFL Combine's happening. The Browns are out there scouting college players and otherwise doing their due diligence to stock the team and make a run at something better than what they were last year. I don't know what my expectations are for the Browns. It's hard to have any expectations until you see what they do. It's hard to figure out what they can do or what they will do with the resources that they're given. We've got all brand new people all over again. So even if they do load up on talent, the learning curve of this new offense and an installation of the new system, I mean, how many times have we done that? So it's causing me to really kind of constrain my hopes and dreams for this season, for this team. Obviously, anything can happen and good things can happen, and I'm here to see it, but to predict it seems crazy. To predict it seems absolutely crazy. But so what do we want the Browns to do? Like, obviously they need offensive line, but they also have free agents, most notably Joe Schobert. And we don't even know if they're going to create another hole. Is Joe Schobert worth 11 or 12 million or whatever he's going to get on the open market? I don't know. But he's probably worth at least that much to the Browns. He should be worth more to the Browns than he is to anybody else, but they're going to let him go hit the open market where people know that they have to overpay. I don't know. I kind of think maybe the Browns should have already locked him up. Maybe that should have been a priority for John Dorsey earlier on in the season, or heading into last season. He could have gotten Joe Schobert locked up at a better rate than what he's going to get this offseason. And now Andrew Berry and this coaching staff are left to really overpay if they want to keep him around. And as a player, he's like a B+. He's like a B+ level player. He's not an A. He's not an A+. He's never going to be an A+. But he's one of those guys that is consistent, and he's a field leader. He calls plays. He's an adult in the room, as they say. And that's worth something. That's worth a premium, and it would be worth even more to the Browns than anybody else because he's already been here. He already has the ear of the locker room and has the respect of some of these players on defense. It's just strange that he's worth more to the Browns than anybody else, and maybe the Browns are value him less than everybody else because, I don't know, maybe they've taken him for granted. And maybe the guys who are here haven't been here consistently enough recently to take him for granted at all. But the organization somehow takes him for granted. It's weird. It's just weird. Because I expected Joe Schobert to be the kind of guy that the Browns would lock up. And now here he is on the precipice of getting overpaid, and the Browns might not do it because they missed their window, they missed their chance. And that's the exact opposite of smart personnel, but you also can't have smart personnel when you're changing over your decision makers all the time. And John Dorsey's not here anymore. And John Dorsey replaced the people who brought Joe Schobert in the first place. But those people, one of those people is Andrew Berry. And so, God, the murkiness of the Cleveland Browns and their situation and their future, and who even knows what to think anymore? Who even knows what to think anymore? You can't make sense of it just by thinking about it. You're just going to have to sit around, wait, and see. The Browns are the ultimate wait-and-see team at this point. And that's just where we are. That's just where we are. Pretty much every team, the Indians are wait-and-see too. They've made moves, but who knows? Who knows? Who knows? They haven't made moves. They have made moves. They've made small moves. They're counting on young guys. So it's like the ultimate wait and see. The ultimate wait and see, which is not fun. It's not fun for sports talk. I was commenting to Ken Carman and Anthony Lima on Twitter the other day that, they were talking about off-season wins and losses. And it was tongue-in-cheek. They were joking, press conferences and these different things that we rate as wins and losses in the off-season that don't ultimately actually mean anything. And I was just marveling at the kind of heavy lifting that's going on this time of year on Sports Talk Radio, because there really is nothing in the world that's worthwhile to talk about. And somehow those guys manage to do hours and hours a day of Sports Talk Radio, and they talk to Mary Kay Cabot, and they talk to Aditi Kinkhabwala and all these different people about the Browns, and nobody knows anything about the Browns. There's no update. There's no new information, and yet here we are. We somehow fill the time talking about a team that hasn't done anything, that can't do anything, that even when they say something, they're not saying anything at all. And that's just sports in February. And unless you're a big college basketball fan, it's not going to change probably until like May, especially because the Cavaliers are irrelevant. But that's the nature of this beast. Thank goodness for us. We don't really care much about business at Waiting for Next Year anymore. We've long since given up hope that this website's going to be anybody's full-time job, or this podcast is going to be anybody's full-time job. But it's fun to get clicks and have interesting things happen on the website. And no matter, even when there's nothing to say, the Browns drive traffic. People are interested in the Browns. So we'll continue to talk about it. I know the guys on the site are talking about the draft. They're talking about the combine. They're talking about prospects that the Browns could be looking at to fill the offensive line voids, and best players available and different things. We're talking about backup quarterbacks. I couldn't possibly care less whether it's Case Keenum, Chase Daniel, Marcus Mariota, or anybody else. It doesn't matter. None of that stuff matters to me, but we'll be talking about it, and you'll be reading about it, and enough people will care that they'll be clicking through. I know that. It's just weird. It's weird because we all know it doesn't mean anything. We all know. But that's the life of a Cleveland sports fan. Interested whether it matters or not. Interested whether it matters. We should make that the new slug line on Waiting for Next Year. Cleveland sports. We're interested whether it matters or not. Cleveland sports. All right, thanks so much for listening. I hope you guys are having a fun February. Hope you're enjoying your time. I hope you're healthy. I hope you're not prepping like a maniac like I am. I hope you're stronger and more confident and less anxiety prone than my family and I are. And I don't know. Hit me up. Talk to me. Make me feel better. Make me feel worse. Just say something. Talk to you soon. Thanks for listening. It's been the waitingfornextyear.com podcast.